Hi guys, Ostrom here, and today we are going to talk about this new AFK build, which is mainly meant to be a warrior counter build. This guide going to be similar to any other of my demo guides, so let's start with the summary slide. So in this slide, you can see what professions I'm using and what other professions can be good as well. Also, I wanna mention that I'm using a standard Warlock gear. I fully wore through in my other guides like the Warlock vs Mage one, which I'm gonna link in my description. So let's start the actual guide. Here is my talent. First, I wanna mention that this is not an arena talent. This isn't the original imp spec for arena. This is mainly for duels. So what is the idea of this talent? Basically you wanna min-max your imp damage. You can do that with the following talents. With all these talents, you're going to increase your imp flat damage and crit chance. So let's group them. So with Improve Imp, Unholy Power, Master Demonologist and Demonic Pact, you will increase your imp flat damage. Your pet needs to crit to able to get the Demonic Pact talent. With Master Demonologist, Demonic Empowerment and Demonic Tactics talents, you will increase the imp crit chance. With Demonic Power, you will reduce the Imp Firebolt casting time, and with Ruin, you will increase the critical damage for your Imp. You can scale up even higher the Imp damage with the Glyph of Imp. So as you can see, your Imp is going to hit hard. For this matchup, all 3 Glyphs is mandatory. The first one is the Glyph of Imp. This Glyph is going to increase your Imp damage even more. The second one is a Glyph of Metamorphosis. You wanna have 2 Immolation Aura, even though the second one is going to be 4 seconds only. Also, while you are in form, you are super tanky. And the third one is the Glyph of Shadow Flame. You need this slow. With this slow, you can kite the warrior, so you can avoid warrior damage and warrior charges as well. Racial and Trinkets. In Wrath, you can choose between 5 races when we are talking about warlocks. Let's see the order from best to worst. The best is a human, and then the orc, and then the gnome, undead, and lastly Belf. So let's start with human. If you have full best in slot, you should pick human, because human has basically 3 trinket slots. The first one is his racial, so you don't need medallion at all, so you can choose the other 2 trinket by yourself. I highly recommend using bubble and something. With bubble, you will have enough healing to survive any warrior, but you can increase your defense with abacus, key, or any other defensive trinkets. Or you can increase your damage with an offensive trinket like Phylactery, CTS, or DFO. Orc. Orc is the second best overall, best in Horde. Orc has an interesting passive, which increases your pet damage by 5%, so your imp can do even more damage. But exchange of 1 trinket, since you need to use medallion to free yourself from CCs, also you can increase your damage as well with Blood Fury. Even more, or gain extra stun duration, which you can combo with your form and metagem. As for trinkets, you should use bubble and medallion of course. Gnome. Gnome can be really useful against warriors as well, because warrior can play with improved hamstring talent or glyph, so they can root you. And with your racial, you can save your trinket for something else. Or you can slow the warrior with the shadow flame, or you can remove the soul from yourself, so you can easily kite the warrior. The problem is the same as it was with the orc racial. You need to sacrifice 1 trinket slot. So your trinket should be the same as medallion and bubble. Undead. Undead can be good, although I don't think the duel will last that long. Theoretically, in a duel, you will use your racial to break out from warrior's fear, and you can use your trinket from any other warrior CCs. But also it can be countered easily by the warrior. Maybe with this throw or affliction it can be better, if you are lower geared of course. The trinket are the same. And lastly, Blood Elf. Blood Elf is basically useless against warriors. You can silence the warrior to avoid AoE slow or fear, but the silence doesn't last long, so I don't recommend playing Blood Elf. Offense. Major offense. So your main damage is going to be your imp, and maybe your Immolation Aura. So I already explained why the Imp has such a huge damage in the talent section. What I wanna tell you here is two things. The first one is the Imp spell called Fire Shield. Since you are using Improved Imp talent, you will have a bigger Fire Shield spell. This spell works exactly the same how Thorns work. So when the warrior is hitting you, he will get a decent amount of damage back thanks for this talent. The second one is the Imp Fireball spell. So warrior can kick it. Arms warrior can put UA on it, so he can slowly finish your pet if he decides to tunnel your imp. Your imp will do less damage because of it. If you really wanna try hard, you can try to fake us by using your pet follow and pet stay macro. But as for my experience, if that happens, you can just put the 2 dots up for the warrior and spam Hell Funnel. With that, you will win the race. And even if your first pet goes down, you can resummon fast your second one and repeat this. And if the warrior trade war for Immolation Aura, then that will be your second highest damage in the meter. Dots. So you need to use Curse of the Elements as fast as you can. With that, you will increase your imp damage. You should apply Corruption, and if you have free cast, then Immolate as well. You most likely don't need Immolate. So if the warrior is tunneling you, and you don't really good at fake casting, then don't do it at all. Minor damage. Technically, Shadow Flame is a dot damage, but that damage is super low, basically it's unnoticeable. But with Glyph, you can slow the warrior, which can be super useful. Usually, it's not the end of the world if you miss one, but try to take your time and apply the dot if you can, because you can gain so much with it. Instant spells. If you are in form, you can use Shadow Cleave, unless the warrior is using shield block, and you can spam Shadow Burn. It's an instant cast, so you can spam it on CD. Other extra damage source can be your Drain Soul, Drain Life, Searing Pin, or Shadow Bolt, or even your Wand, but this is only for min-maxing your damage. Even if you're unbind these, you will win most of the duels still. Defense. Pet defense. So Imp is super squishy, but you can increase its defense with Demonic Residence talent, and with Improved Hell Funnel you will be able to keep it alive. But if your Imp goes down, you can just resummon it also. Try to keep your Imp alive at all costs. Player's defense. You will have 4 major defense. The first one is the Metamorphosis. You will receive less critical hit from warriors, your armor will increase by 600%, and you gain extra stun duration. So you are basically a tank in that form. The second one is your Hellstone. You can increase the healing effect with the talent called Improve Hellstone. The third one is the Bubble, or if you are human, then potentially your other defensive trinket. And lastly, the obvious one, your Soul Link. I wanna mention here the talent called Molten Skill, because it will reduce all damage taken by 6%. It might not be a lot, but it's still a good one. Minor. You can use 2 different armor. Your Fair Armor will increase your damage and it heals constantly. So when you are about to burst, make sure you are in the Fair Armor. Your Demon Armor will increase the healing taken and your armor, which you can combine with your form. So when you are about to press Hellstone, Bubble or First Aid, you should switch your armor to Demon Armor. Rotation. As for opener, I tried 2 different ones, but I think there is a clear winner here. The first one is when I instantly use my form and Demonic Empowerment to DR the warrior's charge, put the Curse of the Elements on, maybe use Shadow Flame as well, and start kiting with your Immolation Aura. I have 2 problems with this. Although it can work, but you waste seconds of your form, so you might not have a second Immolation Aura. And the other problem is, what if the warrior just starts tunneling your pet? Then you wasted your form. So what I think is the best opener is when you instantly press your Demonic Empowerment to get a Demonic Pact proc, which is going to increase your and your pet damage as well, and put Curse of the Elements on the target as fast as you can. Then you can either use your form and the Immolation Aura with Shadow Flame, or Shadow Flame first, and then you can use your form with the Immolation Aura. With this one, you should force the warrior's wall. If he decided not to press, he will regret it cause you will do a tons of damage. After that, you can apply your Corruption and spam your Shadow Burn keybind. Make sure you use your second Immolation Aura before your form ends. When you are in or outside of your form, you can use Shadow Flame to guide the warrior. I will give you more tips in the win condition section. One extra tip, don't forget to buff yourself every time with your fire shield, and also keep your Shadow Ward always on yourself. Since all of your spells, what warrior can reflect is going to be shadow spells, like Corruption, Shadow Flame Dot, Shadow Burn. So why it's called AFK build? Because 80 to 90% of your damage is going to be your imp if the warrior is using his wall for your Immolation Aura. You don't really need to do anything, just live, kite, press your healings, and the imp will do his job. Also, you can win most of the duels without casting a single spell. Win conditions. Warrior's goal can be different. Warriors either wanna survive your form, cause after that you will be less tanky, do more damage than you, or try to win with cleaving you and your pet, or just finish your pet overall. No matter which one is he choosing, he's going to annoy you with his CCs like charge, kick, fear, and spell reflection. Also, warriors should trade war for Immolation Aura. So your main win condition is let the imp do his job and try to survive till he finish the warrior. Also, try to heal your pet if needed. It's easy as that, although there can be a third goal, which might be a bit advanced, but if you can, try to avoid getting a mortal strike so you can heal yourself back to full. But don't worry if you can't, your healing should be enough even with the mortal strike effect on you. But I wanna give you a few more tips, what can you do better, what you should look forward. Let's start with the obvious one. Do not stack with your imp, otherwise warrior will cleave you and your imp with sweeping strikes, cleave, blaze storm, plus warrior can kick you as well. Warrior Syndragosa trinket is useless against you if you have the spell penetration cap, which is 130, because you will use Curse of the Elements on the target, so with that too, you will cancel the trinket effect. When to use your port? So if the warrior uses his 2 charge and you have less than 50% HP, you can use your port to heal yourself back to full. But most likely, you're going to use your port to avoid blaze storm damage. If you wanna be a bit better, then after you use Shadow Flame slow the warrior, you can just break away from the warrior and start fake casting Fear to force spell reflection. Or if you can't break away from the warrior, you can try to fake until he uses his kick as well. Or you can just gamble it and face cast. Also, you should learn how to kite the warrior with Shadow Flame. You can force warrior's trinket, berserker rage, or if you've already done that, you can give a full fear on warrior with your Demonology charge into fear combo or DC into fear combo. Better warriors will trinket the first CC to reflect your fear and put you in 10 seconds CC. So make sure you either have a trinket or warrior does not have one while you're doing this. With these CC combos or even a well-timed simple CC, you can avoid getting a mortal strike so you can heal yourself back to full. Positioning. This will be super easy. I'm gonna represent the positioning with these dots. The purple one is going to be the Warlock, the red is the warrior, and the blue is your pet, and finally green is your port. For opener, you should stay away from your imp. However, there is a bug currently which can happen sometimes, which is if your pet is in stay mode before the duel starts, its movement can be buggy. I can make a full video of it if you wanna hear about more, but without further ado, let's continue with the positioning. So maybe you wanna stack with your imp at the opener, but make sure you immediately move from it. In the duels, if you apply the Shadow Flame on the warrior, you wanna be as close as possible without getting a hit by a warrior. There is a safe spot where you won't get hit by a warrior and neither he can charge you. So he can only tank your and your imp damage. If you mastered that, you are ready and good to go. If you don't know how to do that, let me know so I can make a full video about it. Also, if you cannot do that right now, it's not a huge deal, but you can start practicing it. It's the same kiting what rogues, mages or even DKs do against a warrior. Warrior CD. I made 3 warrior CDs category: the CC, the defense, and the CC breakers. So let's start with the CC category. Warriors have 3 CC. The first one is the charge, the second one is the intercept, and the third one is the fear. Basically, you want to force warriors charge in order to guide better. I want to mention here that you should not trinket the warrior's fear unless you don't have mortal strike on you or the warrior is tunneling your pet. Otherwise, let the imp do his job. You can avoid charge by doing the Shadow Flame close range kite. The next category is a defense one. Warriors have shield wall and potentially shield block if needed, spell reflection and regeneration. You can force warrior's wall with your first immolation aura, so your second one is going to be a free damage. While warriors are using the regeneration, they can't use Berserker Rage unless they cancel it, so you can fear the regeneration. Make sure you force spell reflection first. If warrior uses his shield block, try to avoid melee attacks on him, so do not use Shadow Cleave. And lastly, the CC breakers category. Warriors have Berserker Rage to break out from your fear. They have Trinket to break out from any other CC, like DC, Demonic Charge or Fear, and they have Blaze Storm. They can use Blaze Storm before you land the CC. For example, when you are about to cast a Fear, they can just Blaze Storm it. Or they can just Blaze Storm your Demonic Charge, or they can just break away from your slow without using their trinkets. Make sure you save your port for the Blade Storm. Technically, Recklessness can be here as well, because warrior gain immunity for fear effect, but in exchange for that, they take more damage. I don't know that in the duel it's really worth the press. Key points summary. So let's summarize how to win against a warrior as a Demonology. At the beginning of the duel, use Fire Shield and Shadow Ward on yourself. Your first 2 global CD should be Demonic Empowerment and Curse of the Elements. Use your form, Immolation Aura, and Shadow Flame to force Warrior's Wall. If you can, guide the warrior. Use your instant spells like Corruption, Shadow Cleave, Shadow Burn, and don't forget to use your second Immolation Aura. Use your port to avoid Blaze Storm damage or to heal yourself back to full. Always heal your pet if needed. Do not stack with your pet. If you guide the warrior with your Shadow Flame, fake cast till he uses his kick and spell reflection, and then try to land your fear. If you force warrior's Berserker Rage, use your CC combos to get a full fear. Try to fear when he uses regeneration, apply Immolate if you can. If warriors have Trinket, and especially if you don't, make sure you force spell reflection first and then CC, so you can avoid getting full fear by yourself. And lastly, how to win. I'm gonna show you a few clips to summarize the whole video, and maybe with that you can understand it better. The first clip. In this clip, as you can see, my first globals were the Demonic Empowerment and the Curse of the Elements to maximize your imp damage. The Demonic Empowerment will increase the crit chance for your imp, and if it crit, we will get a Demonic Pact proc. This does affect the imp as well. After that, I instantly slowed him with my Shadow Flame, use my form, and instantly use my Immolation Aura to get a full value of it. In the meantime, I put Corruption on it and use my Shadow Burn and start kiting. As you can see, with my coil, I could force the warrior's trinket. After that, I'm basically AFK. I'm waiting for my Shadow Flame and Shadow Burn CD to get back. I use my Gnome ratio to waste 1 global from here, cause he needs to slow me. And since he didn't use his wall, he's already at approximately 40% HP. After that, he used his regeneration. I could put another Shadow Flame slow on him, but this time he used his Blaze Storm to break free. I ported the Blaze Storm instantly and started the kiting. As you can see, even though he has a tons of resilience at defensive trinkets, my imp just burning his HP down. I could manage to charge his intercept to gain a few more seconds before he started hitting me again. He charged and rooted me, but by the time he did that, I could manage to waste enough time to get my Immolation Aura back and instantly used it. He used his wall and block at the same time. I think this was a late wall. He didn't get the full value of it. Basically, the duel was over. He tried to fear me and force it back a bit, but I still had a trinket and I could finish it with my shadow burn. This is how a duel should look like. In this second clip, you will see the same opener, but since he decided to tunnel my pet, I could manage to fully dot him up. And then I immediately start healing my pet. I casted a shadow bolt, but take a look at my next global. I instantly use my shadow ward, so even if he uses spell reflection, I would take 0 damage. And basically, I'm AFK during the duel. I only healing my pet and doing nothing. I wanna mention here that in the duel I use only 1 talent point for my improved health funnel instead of the maximum 2. But even with that, I could manage to keep my imp alive for a long time. I refreshed my corruption, and since he used his spell reflection on my immolation cast, I started casting a fear to force his berserker rage out. He charged that cast, but I could put my immolation back. Since this warrior is putting constantly UA to my pet, I didn't fake cast with my imp once. He could manage to finish my first pet. I quickly used my fire domination to resummon it. He intercept and fear me. Since he is near to me, I wanted to force his war right away with my immolation aura, but I can manage to do that. But as you can see, currently I'm stacking with my imp, so I need to move. Even though I faked his kick, I still don't wanna stack with my pet. So basically in this situation, I'm just refreshing my dots and healing my pet. I don't really do anything and I'm winning. He uses regeneration so I can fear him. But I decided to do my CC combo, which is a DC into fear. But I just mentioned before, since this warrior still have a trinket and I don't, I need to watch out the trinket spell reflection, cause the last thing what I want is to get the 10-second CC on myself. He tried to spell reflection my fear, but I could stop the cast just the right time. After that, I'm just trying to get the fear on the warrior, but basically the duel is over. I even casted the Incarnate, and once I got my immolation aura back, I went near to him to start finishing the duel. Although he could finish my second pet, but he doesn't have any CDs left and his HP was under 6k. Maybe if I would spend the maximum extra talent point to the improved health funnel talent, I could save my pet. I hope I could help you understanding this build and the matchup. If you like this build, make sure you check it out by yourself. Leave a comment how you like it and also what you wanna see next. With that, I wanna thank you all for watching and wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. Bye.